I am a professor of EEOB, and I've also been director of the Undergraduate Research Office for its entire existence, which has been about 6 years. And we're basically a clearinghouse for students to get involved in research, to coach them and get their expectations up on what they can do. And we also have some resources for faculty, and I'm guessing that we don't address the regional campuses well enough, and so any feedback that you might have about that would be helpful. And you can find our website. We're pretty happy that it actually is on the main website of OSU. If you go to research, we're right there. So that's a very easy way to find us. And what we do is very much summarized on our websites, like the other organizations that you've been hearing from. So we have news and events. We have resources over on the left, getting started. We explain what we mean by research to students, sort of try to get them excited about doing research and think about the nuts and bolts of it, but also maybe they might want to write a thesis. How to then participate, how to present at forums, all these various things, how to find funding. And in the bottom about the office, there's some information there if you're interested in our staff. We basically have 3 people, and we serve the entire campus. We are mostly under undergraduate education, and we also work closely with Office of Research. And especially when it comes around time for the annual Denman Undergraduate Research Forum in the spring. We're working with honors and scholars on that as well. So we work with a lot of units on campus. And from your perspectives, I'm thinking that many of you are using undergrads right now, or collaborating with them. I mean, you need them for your research, and you're helping them do research. And so you're probably using students that are in your courses or in your campus, that you can find. At the Columbus campus, it's a lot harder to find students sometimes. So we have this faculty list your projects option. And it's just a form that helps faculty identify students. If you were to ever want to use this, you're welcome to. What we do is we try to target your audience. Let's say you got a grant and you need 5 students to help with the work. It can be paid, unpaid, for credit. It can be anything. You can fill out this form and we will send it to your target audience. But I'm guessing maybe on the regional campuses you wouldn't use that as much, but some of our faculty, for example, in Newark have grad students in Columbus, and those grad students are working with undergrads, and a grad student can do this also. They can fill out this form as long as there's a faculty member. So that might be one of the resources that could be useful as a faculty member. Another thing could be funding. So we have find funding. Your students are welcome to use any of these resources at any time, and we try to have all kinds of deadlines available at Ohio State, other places. So some are by major, some are not, and we also have a newsletter that goes out to students, and you could sign up for the newsletter if you're interested in this level of information.
Go to the second one there.
Okay. Yeah.
Newark Student Research Grant.
Yep. There you go. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't know how many campuses do this, but Newark, we always tell Newark students you have a better chance of getting funded from Newark than you do from main campus, and you have a better chance than any student on main campus. So the smallness and the intimacy of these kinds of experiences that you can get on the regional campuses is really a great thing for students. So yeah, so there's one. But if you ever notice stuff that we haven't listed, we would be glad to include it. So we have that one, yeah. And so there's always things coming up, deadlines. Anybody can apply for these undergraduate student enrichment grants. What I was thinking about as I was sitting in the audience is I'm not sure if there's ever a problem from a regional student applying for an on-campus one. We could help find that out. So if you didn't get one of these $10 million grants that you heard about earlier, you may have students that you want to collaborate with. They could try to get these smaller grants, and that would be really helpful for them. And then they could present their work at the Denman Forum. Here's a whole website about forums outside of OSU, at OSU. various things like that. We have a fall undergraduate research forum too. But mainly I want to think about, what questions you might have about how our office could maybe help you with working with undergrads. You could use, do you have a question already?
Yeah, I always recommend my students to go there and look. And two things that they tell me is first, all the activities they have to go there to Columbus.
Yes, they're all at Columbus. And we haven't figured out a way to film them or do them remotely.
Maybe having them remotely as a webcast or teleconference or something.
It's on our to-do list, definitely.
All the regional campuses, I assume, have facilities for rooms. Like we have rooms here that set up for webcasts and things like that. So that would facilitate a lot.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that a lot of the funding opportunities are also very limited to departments in Columbus.
Right. That's our main audience. But if there's a way that we can know more about, which ones are, I don't think a lot of them are restricted actually. If you're a biology major or an EEOB major working in Lima, you can apply for funds and you will get them. It doesn't matter what campus you're on for some of these, but maybe for others it does. And do you know anything more about that? Or these are the comments that you get back from them? Yeah.
I know, for example, a couple of my students applied to the Sigma whatever number.
Yeah, Sigma Xi.
Yeah, and they didn't get it, and I was looking at the history, and it doesn't seem to have any regional students getting those grants. I don't know if it's just...
Yeah, that is, those are hard to get. Those are small, and I don't think they give out very many. But we don't give them out. That's the Sigma Xi Society. So yeah, I'm not really sure why they.
And one last comment is that in the get started part, that you said to get them excited about it, it's not clear to them what's the advantage of doing from reading that material.
Oh, okay.
And I try to write one in my website as well to have something about the advantage. And I think somebody may want to review that.
Why do research? Yeah, we sort of try to get these messages across that you're going to learn a lot, that it's going to help you decide on your career, all these kinds of things.
All those more subjective things are there, but more concrete things like they can get credits and things like that. And some of the departments require they write a thesis is a requirement, so they have eventually to do it.
So okay, well, thank you. That's good.
And I was very looking forward for your presentation because I'm in earth sciences, and the students that decide to do earth sciences after 1 or 2 years they leave. And they have to move to Columbus. So we don't get them for too long here. And I'm trying to get them in the freshman year. But I don't see a lot of things there pushing the freshmen to do it. A lot of the students think that they can only do research in the last 2 years of the So maybe emphasize that idea.
We could do that more. We don't want, there has to be one of the limiting factors is finding a faculty member who will want to supervise a freshman. But we don't discourage freshmen, but we don't specifically encourage them either. But it's great that you are all looking for them in their first 2 years probably is like the best time. Yeah, exactly. So I think some of that you might have to just do yourself, but because in Columbus, it's like the freshmen are just sort of getting settled, and if they come knowing they want to do research, definitely, they hear that message from us. But
many of them have no idea that this is even a possibility.
That's true.
So I think if some of that could...
It would be really nice. We have students who go around to the freshman survey classes and talk about why they're doing research on the main campus. And they're part of our student peer contacts group, kind of like ambassadors. If we could try to do that on the regionals maybe with some sophomores, that might be a possibility. I don't know.
Juniors or seniors who...
And if they're in a program that goes all 4 years, that might be a possibility. Because student to student is another thing that we found is really, really effective. Whenever we have faculty panels, yeah, it's great. But when we have student panels, it's awesome.
Yeah, I send emails to my best students, but
Yeah.
it's coming from a faculty, so they do not pay too much attention. Maybe somebody else was telling them.
I know, I've really come to see things from their point of view, because faculty, we talk too much, and but they hear it from another student, and they're on it, and they contact each other so well and everything.
But
So
that could be a cool thing to set up at the regional campuses, because each one of the regional campuses has a lot of really good undergraduates who are already engaged in research, who might be willing to do a panel or might be willing to do some sort of special event to talk to students who are not in research yet, and say, here's why we're doing it, and we're having nothing but fun, so you might want to do it too.
Nothing.
Yeah.
or it's a lot of work, but we like it anyway. Yeah. Other questions or comments that people have? This is helpful. Yes.
The impact on the regional campus faculty as a whole of this emphasis is a bit varied, because some people have students and have an automatic entree into doing student research because they've got students longer. As Isaias was saying, some of us are teaching students for at most 2 years, and yet I don't know that it is a zero-sum game so much, because people who are doing student research may well be in the classes that we're teaching and keeping enrollment up. So I've come to believe, well, at first I was skeptical about the student research emphasis. I've come to believe that it would drive a bigger institution, and maybe we can get more majors eventually, but and maybe we have some very precocious freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So again, I'm not sure I'm following. Do you have a suggestion, or are you feeling like it's okay to have this?
Saying there's obstacles, when you think of this regional campus faculty represented here, there are obstacles to getting student research to be done more often, or a lot, because you're going to have some people who are teaching only introductory classes.
Yeah.
They'll never...
I know, it's not going to work for everyone. It's more that, I think though, for new faculty that are expected to publish, you're probably going to need some help, unless you're in history or some area where you work more individually. But if you were in the sciences or some of these other kinds of fields, you might need undergrads to help, I'm guessing. And we're not saying that every research experience has to lead to a thesis on the part of the student. They can learn a lot just by working as a volunteer or an intern too. But yeah, everybody's time is extremely limited. I'm glad that came up in the beginning, and I think you need to be really careful to think about getting a good match if you're going to work with undergrads. Are they going to take a ton of your time, or are they really going to, is it going to be mutually beneficial? And we want it to be mutually beneficial, and we know that it can. We have a lot of faculty who prefer undergrads. They know how to pick the ones that are going to be happy doing it, and it works out extremely well. But there are other cases where someone knocks on your door and you think, oh, maybe I'll help them, and then you have a bad experience, and then you don't want to do that again. So you have to be really smart about who you take and how you're going to work with them, and make sure that it's going to fit with your time constraints and be helpful for you as well as for them, I think. Yes?
I have a question that might combine you and Jeff, or I don't know who it would go to, but what about funding that goes to a PI to fund a summer stipend for an undergraduate student or something like that? It's not something they would apply for, it's something that I would, or me and a few of my colleagues would, that would fund their work.
REUs or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And what's your question?
Do I go to find that?
You want to find that kind of money? Is that what you're thinking? Oh, yeah. That's kind of hard to get. I mean, if you get an REU site from, say, National Science Foundation, that's pretty straightforward. You can, and Jeff probably can tell you about some of these funding opportunities. But I don't know of a lot that go to the faculty member for some, except within certain departments. Some departments, like chemistry, that you can easily get funding for a student, and chemistry has its own competition. And we also help with anybody who wants to have like an application process for some opportunities. But what department are you in? psychology. Yeah, well, psychology has been supporting undergraduate research in the summer quite a bit. And so I don't know if your students are applying for that, but they funded, I think, 8 students last summer through us. And so that's one option. But it's often for students who are already kind of engaged and have a proposal. That's the other problem. A lot of what we fund is their juniors, basically, or sophomores, and they already know what they're going to work on. Sounds like what you would like is some money that you could give to a student to attract them to come work with you.
Right, yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, in working, I work up, and people in my department too, work a fair amount with undergrads and have it kind of enrolled in how we do research. And so as such, I mean, occasionally there's an opportunity for the student who really has a plan of their own.
Yeah.
But I think more often, at least for me, it's my collaborating with them on something
Right.
that they've become interested in because of kind of my showing them the way initially, at least.
Yeah.
And so something we're working on together, so it would not necessarily be some kind of
That's kind of a tough niche because, I mean, really big grants from, say, NSF, you could get a supplement to have a student working with you, but you have to already have the big grant. But you're talking about, let's just fund the student and I'll direct the project. And I'm not aware of too many opportunities like that. Has anyone else heard of them?
You can add to your own grant application section of that you're going to be funding undergraduates. In fact, they call
Be
it
another budget item.
exactly, it would be a budget item that you, and there is a name for that. What's the name that NSF used for that?
Broader impacts, sometimes it could be part of that.
Be adding a portion of the grant that will be just to fund so many students over the summer.
Okay, those are the sorts of things they're looking for.
And they really like that.
Yeah,
They really like that. If you strengthen
Especially
your-
if it's like minority population or underserved population, that's a great outreach
Well,
component.
Richland is a county, I mean, 17%, you know,
Okay.
Yeah.
with BAs, so
Okay.
bachelors, so this is definitely,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
so
grant
they look
agencies really
favorably
like
at
that.
that.
Yeah,
There-
NSF, anything involving undergraduates, and then even more so if there are special considerations, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would check.
On the campus, so on the Mansfield campus, we have exactly what you're looking for, because Christian and I just got one. So where you can apply to get money to pay for. an
Is it through your
undergrad.
dean or through your department? Or it's through the
No, it's
campus?
through the campus.
Yeah, so if each campus might have something along those lines, that would be good. I don't know, which campus are you at, actually?
Mansfield,
Yeah.
No, yeah, we do have grants for
Yeah, yeah.
Terry can.
But it'd always be good to have more, and not everybody's going to get one every year and everything, but yeah. So what we try to make a case for the undergrads too. We know that they need to make money, but we don't, when we pay them in the summer, we don't even pay them very much. I mean, we pay them like $3,000 for 10 weeks, and that's enough of a carrot. It's not as much as NSF would pay, but it's enough of a carrot for them to be very excited to get those awards. And they have to work with a faculty member, so it could be a piece of what that faculty member's research is. It usually is a piece of a larger project. Yeah. Yes?
I just have a question about the difficulties of having students completing senior honor species.
Okay. You're having trouble?
Well, no, it's just really cumbersome.
Yeah.
And when we went through the semester conversion, the sense was that we're going to try to simplify this, and,
Oh, yeah.
and it doesn't seem much simpler. That
Yeah.
the students are making frequent trips to Columbus to
Are they?
speak
Oh,
with
that's just- yeah.
advisors in order to complete the process. Those who are working through they're doing the research. They want to be able to complete a thesis, and they do.
Right, yeah. I appreciate that because I think it's hard too. When we tried to figure out, well, how do you do it? And the ones who can figure it out are just amazing because it's so cumbersome. Yeah, and I wish it wasn't. That's something I can work with. For example, like each college has their own way of doing it. And so which college would you be?
In humanities.
Yeah, so arts and sciences, the big arts and sciences office. Yeah, it's not that easy. So, and I think the switch to semesters, if anything, is going to make things worse for a while. But hopefully it'll get easier.
It is a discouragement to students who want
It is.
to complete these, and they
Yeah.
look at, I've had students go through the process, and I say, write down every step so that we can use this as a checklist for the next
Yeah.
student who wants to undertake
Yeah.
the process. They look at that and they go, oh, You know,
Wow.
it's just really intimidating.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I have that impression that it's hard. So I will continue to work with them. Yeah, because we really don't want that to be the reason. No.
It's a wonderful
already
experience,
hard.
and you have mine who want to go on to grad school, you know, so
Yeah.
you should do this, because
Right.
this will give you a real sense of whether this
gonna
is
get
the
you,
direction
yeah.
you want to go.
Yeah.
And those that go through it, you know, they rave about how useful it was.
Okay.
But it's a hurdle to jump through the bureaucracy.
But you don't need now to be in the honors program in order to do the research, to get people credit for the research.
There is a different sort of pathway to do one of
Here's
those.
the two. We have, if you want to get research distinction, you can either do this research thesis, whether you're an honors student or not, or you do an honors research thesis. And you can also get credit, but we really want them to do a thesis. I mean, if they're at all interested, we think they're going to get so much more out of it. And we only get about 300 a year in the entire campus, which is really low.
Total
So-
number, both
Easy.
honors and non-honors?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I think this might be part of the reason.
And I think we need to work on it, definitely.
Yeah.
Are both of those equally problematic? The honors research thesis and the
It's hard to say. I think the honors faculty are a little pickier with all their rules. So this other one is supposed to be a little more streamlined, but because it's new, not every college has it all very easy to figure out, but it should be getting easier. So either one should be fine. The problem is that in order to get it on your diploma when you graduate, you do have to register for these either honors credits or thesis credits. And that is something that's not going to go away because they don't want to miss you and have you miss the deadline for defending your thesis and stuff like. They want to get you in the system.
But for the senior honors thesis, students used to have to, I mean, they do still have to complete the honors program, which has a very fairly lengthy list of requirements for that part, as well as the thesis itself, and it becomes considerable.
Well, it's actually, it's become more difficult, not easier, because it used to be you could join honors when you started the thesis and you didn't have to complete the contract part.
Exactly.
But now you have to already be in
All the
honors to do
coursework.
the honors thesis.
Right.
But if you find that too cumbersome, you can do this.
Third one.
Yeah, because in my department, almost nobody is honors to start with. I mean, they don't think about joining honors, they don't come in honors. And so I frequently get students who want to do a thesis, but now they can't do an honors thesis because, when you're at the end of your junior year, you don't want to go back and retake a bunch of your requirement courses.
Right.
Right. So but you can do the regular thesis.
Right.
And it's still the same research experience.
It's still the
That's
same research
that's
experience.
the
We've run into
important
this problem that students perceive it differently. So last year I had 2 thesis students and one was an honors thesis and the other one was not. And the one who wasn't thought that she was inferior somehow, I'm not doing an honors thesis, I'm just doing a thesis.
Well, there has been talk of combining them and not distinguishing, but it's just so hard to deal with these huge faculty committees that make these rules and have them change the rules. It's tricky.
Yeah. But if your students are having problems, with this process, let's work to help
I'd
with
love to
that.
have it be
Yeah.
simpler.
Yeah.
So
I
that
think-
they can spend their time actually doing the research and
Right.
not working their way through.
I think they've also been understaffed, like at Arts and Sciences, and they've had a lot of people on leave and coming back and everything, and that doesn't help when you're trying to make things more electronic and more responsive and all that. But it is a common complaint, and we need to keep working on it. Maybe one more comment, and then we'll.
Terry was first.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was going to say, we need to wrap up.
Yeah, we do.
But I wanted
Cut us off.
to make a plea to you, and I don't know the degree to which you work closely with the organizers of the Denman Forum.
Oh, yeah,
But that is very user unfriendly for regional campus students. So when you go through the procedure, if you look and think how it's going to look to a regional campus student, you might see some places where changes can be made. So there are, the workshops available to students, but of course they're all on the Columbus campus and they tend to be really short notice. In addition, an email goes out to the students who are participating saying you can get a letter to share with your faculty members that you're going to be at the Denman. But you have to go to Columbus to get the letter. And
Now that's easy to fix.
Wow.
at the end of the forum, the students are told, you can get the comments from the judges to whom you spoke, but you have to get them from the honors and scholarship.
Yeah, that's a very good
in
point.
Columbus.
Okay. I hope then maybe this will be a good thing, because this year my office is going to be in charge of the Denman and the Honors and Scholars is going to be assisting, and it's been the other way around before. So I can make lots of changes, and Jan is also on the Faculty Advisory Committee. So hopefully, you know, I was thinking, I was going to say, I hope you don't notice any difference, because it's a huge thing to take on, but maybe it will even be easier if we can make it easier. Anyway, I think we should probably stop there.
Let's work together on fixing those
Oh, I
words,
would love
because we would want all suggestions.
Good. Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah.